Hey Book Dragons, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking all about Good Omens.
Woohoo! The best book series ever.
Let's go. Thank you to my patrons. I really appreciate all you do to support the channel. So recently, my daughter and I, who is joining me here, by the way, my lovely daughter.
Again, for the third time. Let's go.
Recently, we finished listening to the full audio production of Good Omens on Audible. And so we thought we would get together and talk all about our love of Good Omens and share that with all of you lovely folks.
Yes.
Make sure you like and subscribe if you're getting value from this video and from my channel. That would be awesome. There will be a spoiler section later on, and we'll kind of let you know where that is. And I'll have timestamps in the description below so you can skip ahead if you want to avoid spoilers. To start off with, we're those kind of nerds. We have pop vinyls.
Woo! Funko Pops!
Yay! So these are the special edition pop vinyls that were released after the Good Omens TV series came out. And so I'll put pictures of these up on the screen as well. But essentially, mine has Aziraphale and Crowley with their angel and demon wings.
And I've got Crowley with his apple, and I've got Aziraphale with his book, which is very iconic.
And my Aziraphale has a flaming sword, and Crowley has the broken handlebar off his Bentley. And they're really cool too, because if you, especially with Crowley, if you look through his sunglasses, you can actually see his demon eyes, his cat eyes.
They're very snake-like.
Yes.
It's actually a really cool piece. I love how they did his glasses.
Yeah, me too.
Great stuff.
Yeah, very well done. So, as I said, we listened to the audio book of Good Omens together. That was her first time experiencing the book.
I've got to say, it was really nice. The voice acting was amazing. They got a bunch of the original cast from the TV show, which was an amazing touch. If I heard Aziraphale played by anyone else, I think I would have fallen over and died. So, I gotta say, it was great. Amazing experience. Loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. There's nothing like having David Tennant and Michael Sheen be part of the narration.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. It's like I'm flashing back to Doctor Who. Oh, hold on. It's amazing.
That's right. Oh yeah, Michael Sheen was in Doctor Who as well.
Yeah,
so lots of fun there. If you haven't watched the TV series, I'm not sure where you've been, but
under a rock.
Under a rock, right? But yeah, David Tennant plays the demon Crowley, and Michael Sheen plays the angel Aziraphale. So, and of course, I have the illustrated book right here, the illustrated edition. I have not read it from here yet, but eventually I want to do a reread with it, and it's got lots of fun illustrations. So I think I've showed this book off before on my channel here,
it's a really nice book.
It is a very nice book.
I would personally pick that over the paper version like any day.
Right. Yeah, and so yeah, we got really cool illustrations there. So I have seen Good Omens, the miniseries anyway. I've seen it twice.
I think I've seen it 3 times.
You've seen it 3 times.
Yes.
Yeah, John saw it twice as well. So yeah, so and I'm sure we'll watch it again at some point.
100%.
In fact, we should rewatch it before season 2 comes out.
We should. Hey,
yeah.
That's a good idea.
So yeah, we're those kind of nerds. We're gonna start off today, just talk a little bit about the basic plot of the story, and then we'll let you know when we get into spoilers.
Yeah.
But
so don't worry if you're just watching this on the side while you're reading a book. You have nothing to worry about.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. She's not related to me at
Oh,
all.
no, I don't know him. So I just walked into his house, and he was like, hey, do you want to film a video with me? I was like, yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while, so We were determined to finish the audiobook first before we talked about it.
Yeah.
So if you've never read Good Omens, the basic plot of the story follows the demon Crowley, played by David Tennant in the show, and the angel Aziraphale, played by Michael Sheen in the TV show. And they have been together since the beginning of creation.
Yep.
And
they played a little part into Adam and Eve. More than a little part, I'd say. A big part.
Yeah, a big part in the Adam and Eve story, and
Crowley was the snake, if you've ever read the Bible.
Mm-hmm, right.
Yes.
And so through over thousands of years, they have been together, working toward the goal of eventually having a battle between the forces of good and evil, and that battle would result in the end of the world. Mm. But when you're together for that long,
your ideals kind of blend together, so they each became really neutral to their side. Like they had their own side. They actually said that in the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
They were on their own side, and they became quite fond of each other. Mm-hmm. Very close friends, which is extremely taboo between a demon and an angel.
Oh, yes. When they're talking to their higher-ups, they have no idea who Crowley is, they have no idea who Aziraphale is, and they have never talked to them since the beginning of time.
Yep, exactly. So they've gotten to the point where it's roughly 7,000 years later, and they are at the point where the end of the world is about to begin. The Antichrist is going to be born, and they've decided that they don't really want the world to end. I think Aziraphale does a little bit more than Crowley does to begin with.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of ready for it, and Crowley's like, you know what? I don't like this too much. So.
Yeah, he kind of influences Aziraphale to kind of see that, like, the Earth should stay, like, intact. It's kind of a nice place. Just a little bit.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's what happens. Do we want to talk about the mix-up that happens at the beginning?
Oh, that is my favorite part. It confused me at first. So here's what happens.
It can be confusing.
Crowley is the one who delivers the Antichrist to, it was a nun church, basically, who was secretly like a cult of nuns who worshipped Satan. And so he delivered the Antichrist to be swapped out with a mother's baby. But while that mix-up happened, the Antichrist actually got swapped with another baby. So throughout basically the entire show, they thought one kid was the Antichrist, while it was actually another kid. And the Antichrist got named Adam. And I think that is hilarious.
Yes.
It was very funny.
Yeah, it was just so funny, because the last thing that you want to do at the end of the world is misplace the bad guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you might not want to do that. So, while they got mixed up, Adam is the Antichrist, and they thought that this one kid, I forget his name.
Warlock. Yeah, they named him Warlock.
Yes, they named him
Warlock.
Warlock.
He was the Antichrist.
They thought that Warlock was the Antichrist. So, Crowley turned into a nanny, and Aziraphale turned into a gardener, and they slowly influenced him to be good and to be bad, so that they thought it would cancel him out, so he'd just be neutral, and he wouldn't end the world until a week before the actual end of the world. They found out, oh crap, he's not the Antichrist. So we've been wasting 11 years of our life doing nothing.
All right, so we are at the point where we're going to talk spoilers. Look at the timestamps in the description. If you have not read Good Omens and you want to skip this part, or you haven't seen the show, you want to skip this part, you've been warned.
Although I 150% recommend watching this show. It is a great experience.
Absolutely.
It's like 6 episodes. They're about an hour each. So if you just want to binge it, get it over with, it's great. Highly bingeable.
Right, exactly. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about spoilers for we completely spoil the book and the ending.
Oh, my favorite part.
Right, my favorite part as well. So as Adam grows up, he befriends a group of young people his age. He is sent an emissary from hell in the form of a hellhound to help him on his journey to becoming the Antichrist through an absolutely hilarious description of the kind of dog that he wants to his friends. The dog says, well, I don't quite look like that, so I'm going to change to be more like he expects me to look, and he's just a normal dog.
Hey, he just turns it into this little tiny, what is it, like a Rottweiler or something like that?
Yeah, like, not even that. Probably like a Cocker
Tiny
Spaniel,
dog.
maybe. Yeah, just really small dog.
And you know what he names him? He is the most creative kid I've ever known. He names his dog, Dog. That's great.
Yeah, that was awesome. And all the while, there are other characters that are popping up. There is a witchfinder general who has noticed that things aren't quite as they should be, and has decided that the end of the world is upon us, and he's found out about a witch that he thinks needs to be brought in, and he's also in league with Aziraphale. And Crowley. Yeah, he's been talking to both of them.
Yeah, although they don't know it, they both have their own secret armies, which is just the same guy.
Right.
Yeah, just one guy.
Yeah. And the Witchfinders go back down in history through centuries, the Salem witch trials, and there's a book called The Nice and Accurate Prophecies of Agnes Nutter that has prophesied all these events to come in these super weird ways and absolutely hilarious ways. And Aziraphale eventually gets a hold of the book and realizes how priceless it is. It's like the only one left in publication.
Especially as a bookkeeper. Not even just as an angel who has seen history. As a bookkeeper, he is like amazed by finding it. He's like, oh my god, this is the only copy. Oh, and he's like fanboying over it. It's
yeah. Yeah, and if we didn't mention before, but Aziraphale is a bookshop owner. He has a bookshop of rare and old books, and yeah, he's a book collector more or less. So he's found this prized possession of this book of prophecies by Agnes Nutter, and it foretells everything, even down to the, what was it, hot chocolate that he was drinking?
Yeah, about how it was going cold.
Yeah, how his hot chocolate was going cold.
That was great. Yeah. And through that book is how he finds out that the kid that they were influencing wasn't the Antichrist. So he tries to call up Crowley, but he's kind of in the middle of something.
Yeah, so Aziraphale was trying to call Crowley to let him know that the exact address where the boy lives, actually. And Crowley, he had to leave a message for Crowley because Crowley was occupied battling it out with another fellow demon named Hastur. Because Hastur had finally caught on that Crowley was a lazy demon. And he wasn't doing what demons should do.
Oh no, he wasn't. Yeah, so Crowley had actually acquired himself some holy water from his good friend Aziraphale back in, the 1700s? And he used the holy water to kill off another demon who was in cohorts with Hastur, using a really funny trick where you put a bucket on top of a door, and when you open it, it falls down on you.
Yeah, that was great. That was one of my favorite scenes.
I bet he would be great in senior year of high school.
Yeah, right. Or first year of college, maybe. Yeah.
That too, yeah.
That would be a good dormitory trick.
That would be.
Yeah, so they locate the Antichrist. The four horsemen of the apocalypse have arrived, and they've each gotten a piece of mail hand-delivered by a mail carrier, I guess, similar to UPS. And
although he travels all across the globe to find these guys. I don't know how much he's getting paid, but I want that job.
Yeah, exactly. And then he eventually ends up getting killed, unfortunately.
So sad.
Run over by his, was it his truck?
It was a different truck.
Different truck,
But
yeah,
that
that's
is how he ends up meeting the last of the four horsemen, Death.
Yes. Yeah, and Death is amazing. All of the four horsemen are really great. And in the book, we'll talk about differences between the show and the book soon. But in the book, there's also a group of lesser horsemen that are trying to figure out cool names for themselves.
It's great. They see the horsemen and they're like, oh yeah, I want to be that. So they find these like lesser like hazards and dangers to society, like I forget some of them. Like
some of them were really off the wall.
They were. You need to read the book,
yes,
so you can just laugh your ass off about
yeah, because that wasn't in the show, but
should have been.
Yeah, it should have been. They had to cut something, right?
Oh yeah.
So at this time, a new recruit named Newton Pulsifer and the witch descendant of Agnes Nutter named Anathema Device have formed a relationship. And so a witchfinder corporal and a witch have hooked up together.
Wow.
And Anathema just happens to have also befriended Adam and his friends. They call themselves.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what they call their group, is the them. So they all eventually end up meeting up at the air base.
Yep.
And the end of the world is ready to take place, and Adam decides
he doesn't want to destroy the Earth.
Yep.
He was going down a path of evil, but his friends, the them, eventually brought him back to reality, and he realized he would like life so much better if he and his friends were happy, just living life normally.
And he's right.
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
right. Don't destroy the world.
But he does piss off his dad.
Oh, yes.
So yes, Satan is not very happy about how everything turned out.
I mean, if I were Satan, I wouldn't be happy either.
Right.
So it's
yeah.
fair, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. You want things to end a certain way. He wants revenge on God. God wants to get rid of him. So nobody's really happy. But the best part about it is, just because it's the ineffable plan, one of my favorite lines, what was it they said, doesn't ineffable mean we don't know how it's going to end, or something like that?
Yeah,
so
something.
it's open to interpretation.
Yeah. But
So-
the angels and the demons think that ineffable means like set in stone is going to happen. So they're a little off there. Just a
Yeah.
little bit.
So all in all, we really loved the book, and it's been a favorite of mine for a while. And I was so excited to introduce my daughter to the book. I knew she would love it because she already loved the show.
Yeah,
so.
obviously. They're really well connected. Even though the book was written in the 1990s and the TV show came out like late 2010s, they really did a great job of adapting it to TV, and I just love it. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It was an almost flawless adaptation, and I think that's due mostly to the fact that Neil Gaiman was on the production team for it.
Oh yeah.
He was determined to make it an adaptation that Terry Pratchett would have been proud of. So it was definitely a labor of love on his part. They did cut out a few things, but
they were really minor. I don't think you would have
Yeah.
missed anything if you just watched the TV show.
exactly, same here. We mentioned one of them, the lesser horseman,
Yeah, the biker gang.
the biker gang. Yeah,
It's
so
hilarious. Still.
it is.
Go back.
Definitely read the book, because that
Okay.
part is hilarious. But they really got everything spot on. David Tennant is a perfect Crowley. I couldn't imagine anyone else playing
Oh, God.
Crowley.
Yeah,
and
he's
same for
amazing.
Michael Sheen.
Yeah, they are both really great in their roles. Definitely the stars of the show, although we don't see them as much as I think we should have seen them in the TV show.
Right?
But they really capture like the heart and soul of the series.
Yeah, they really do. It'd been a few years since I had read the book, and so when I watched the adaptation, and then we went to do the audiobook together, I was listening to it and I was like, oh wow, I'm amazed. They actually pretty much did it beat for
Yeah.
beat. I couldn't remember from the book the scene in the bookstore when the bookstore's burning.
Yeah.
And he accidentally steps in the circle in the Metatron circle. And he's like, oh.
I thought they weren't like that was a new thing that they added to the TV show because like the whole time I was listening to the scene I was like, oh, did they put that in there? And then she's like, oh, it's like, oh.
Yeah, right.
It's great.
Yeah, for some reason I hadn't remembered that from the book, but it was hilarious, and they did it pretty much exactly like it was in the book. So now we're going to talk about our favorite characters from the show, and maybe some favorite character moments as well. So did you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
My personal favorite is Crowley. I'm always attracted to the tall, dark men, and he seems like he'd be like a really horrible guy, but he's actually like, oh, he's a sweetheart. He cares about people. He cares about the earth. He doesn't want it to burn in flames from heaven and hell. And I think he's a great influence on Aziraphale, who's his best friend, and he helps him in so many ways. There is a great episode in this series, I think it was episode 3, which was just a compilation of their like greatest moments throughout like the decades and millennia and all that.
Oh yeah,
crap.
that was great.
Yeah. One of my personal favorites, Aziraphale gets in trouble with the Nazis, where he was going to hand over like precious books to the Germans, and he was in a church and he was about to get bombed. But Crowley strides in. He's like, ooh, because the ground is hot. He's in a church. He can't be there. He's a demon, but he doesn't care. And the bombs, they fall in the church, and you think, oh no, oh, they're gonna die. Oh, man. But Crowley saves him, Aziraphale, and the books, which I think was so sweet. He didn't have to save the books, but he did. He's a sweet guy, and he's extremely funny. Some of my favorite things about the show is seeing how his hair changes, like in every scene, it changes. And that's not really the same with Aziraphale. But like Crowley can go from like long hair to a wig to like, was it slicked back at one time? Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
My favorite character is Crowley as well, but I also really like Aziraphale. Aziraphale is probably a little bit more whimsical than Crowley is. Crowley's more sarcastic, more kind of like more the jokester, practical jokester even. Whereas Aziraphale's more whimsical, but also kind of more timid.
He's a little bit more uptight too, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, that's true. He is more uptight. He loosens up though over time.
Thanks to Crowley.
Thanks to Crowley, yeah. But he always does look the same, where Crowley pretty much changes a lot. And Aziraphale gets distracted easy too. When they first find the book, one of my favorite scenes, when they first find the book of the Nice and Accurate Prophecies, they go to Aziraphale's bookstore, and he's completely distracted. Crowley's still talking to him. You know, shouldn't we think this through or something like that? And he's walking into his bookstore, and he doesn't even hear what Crowley says, I think. But at least in the show, and I don't remember if it was in the book now, he's like, okay, fine, tickety boo. That was the best. Like, tickety boo.
Tickety boo. All the British people out there, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. We're not making fun of you, I promise. But yeah, that was a great scene.
Yeah, it was.
Do you have some other characters that you enjoyed?
I really like Pepper. She was in the group the Them, which was Adam's friends, but she's just hilarious. Oh, even though she's a side character, doesn't get much screen time. She is just like, every time I see her on screen, I'm like, oh yeah, it's Pepper. She really ties the friend group together. I think she really mingles well with the other characters, and I love all of her interactions with the characters, and like her quick wits about the world, and like her strong sense of femininity is great to see. I just love her a lot. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
What about you?
I really liked Newton Pulsifer. He's very clumsy, especially when it comes to computers.
He may or may not make one explode every time he walks in the general vicinity.
And he's no better with women. I mean, he's pretty much socially inept.
Oh, very.
But that's what makes him so lovable. And actually, his clumsiness with computers ends up paying off in the end.
Mm-hmm. In the end, he is the one that kills all the computers. The 4 horsemen, they're going to the air bases, and they're switching on all the nukes. The nukes are going to come and just like, whoop, the Earth. And Newton comes in, and he's just like, oh, boop, boop, all the computers are dead. Oh, what can we do?
Yep. Yeah, it ends up being a good thing, but yeah, it turns out he's not a great witch finder.
Although he did find one witch.
Yeah, he did find one witch.
One very amazing witch.
Yep, and he ends up keeping her.
Oh.
So yeah, it's such a great story. Even the Witchfinder General ends up finding love.
With his not so PG roommate.
Yes. Yeah, he rents a flat in the building of another woman who he loves to call the harlot.
She does certain services and then exorcisms as well.
Yeah, she does exorcisms on the exorcisms and seances on the side.
Seances.
Yeah,
so talented.
So yeah, she's multi-talented. But they definitely grow fond of each other toward the end of the book. So
the general doesn't really like her so much, but as they interact with each other more, he comes to realize, maybe she's not that bad.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the cool things about this story is like forbidden love and
like relationships is really what connects this story together. Without all the friendships and romances in this show and in this book, the world would be ended. Basically.
Yeah. And one of my favorite themes of the book is just the theme of second chances, people changing, people relaxing a little bit and not being so quick to judge and assume that this person is evil, this person is good. There's everybody has different facets to them. So
my favorite thing in the end of this series is how Aziraphale says to Crowley, you're not so bad. And Crowley says to him, you're not so good either. And it just really goes to show how, even demons and angels, they're not black and white. None of us are.
Yeah. So, what we should talk about one popular relationship in the story, and that is the relationship between Aziraphale and Crowley. Now, in the book, well, and I guess in the show too, it doesn't flat out say that they're a couple.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to.
Right.
As you read the book, you'll come to realize, they are a little bit more close than friends should be.
Yeah. Even though angelic beings like demons and angels can't procreate necessarily.
Yeah.
They definitely develop a fondness for each other that goes a little bit beyond just mere friendship. So
one of my favorite scenes is when the world is is a few days from the world ending, and Crowley has kind of given up on the fact that they would save the world. So he asks Aziraphale to run away to another planet with him, but Aziraphale keeps wanting to try, so he says no, and then Crowley's a bit heartbroken. He's like, oh, feel bad.
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of fans shipping the two of them,
as they should. And I personally think they are a great pair. I ship them myself, and especially in the show, they have a lot of great scenes together that I think are like romantically charged.
Yeah,
that one scene I talked about earlier.
And then even going out to dinner and having wine together and just enjoying each other's company.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but it
Yeah.
it definitely evokes a little bit more than friendship there. So that may be reading into things as well, but it makes sense, I think. So
Even the actors themselves has said in interviews that they like the couple being together. I think that's really great, because actors should love their characters and should love the relationships that their characters have with others.
I
Yes.
agree. So we're going to go ahead and end the spoiler section there. There is a season 2 in production right now. I don't think they've wrapped production yet. Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett had gotten together and plotted out a few things that they would like to do for a second book shortly before Terry Pratchett died. So Neil Gaiman is using some of that material to put into season 2. And he's even mentioned that maybe there might be a season 3 as well. So
I think that would be great. I would personally pay bajillions of dollars for season 3. If no one else will, then I will.
Right. I'll take your word for that. You can pay me the monthly. Yeah, you can pay the Amazon charge that month. No, I'm kidding.
Yay!
So we're going to talk briefly about some of our theories about what might happen in season 2. So would you like to start?
Yes, I would. Now, I've heard like a few things about season 2, about how it's going to be kind of like a mystery detective story about this angel that has fallen down, like from heaven, has forgotten like all of their memories, and I think Aziraphale and Crowley are gonna help try to like charge their memory. I'm not exactly sure how much of that is true because I haven't read the news so much, but I think it would be great if the angel ended up being someone that Crowley knew from his days as an angel before he fell down to hell. I think that would be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we did hear that the angel was searching for someone or something before they fell. So I think it'd be really cool to see like a little bit more of Crowley's backstory and like the people that he knew before he fell.
Yeah, that would be. I agree. Yeah. I think that would be cool. There's definitely more hinted at the very end of season 1. Well, and even at the end of the book, because
there were a lot of hints to a second book at the end of Good Omens, and I find that was a little bit sad that they never got to actually like use that, but they finally do in season 2.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So there happens to be another book of prophecies called The Further Prophecies of Agnes Nutter.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So that gives a hint that we're going to get a second story right there. So
lots more prophecies to come. Who knew where these prophecies came from? They just
right.
showed up.
Yeah, exactly. And they are some of the weirdest prophecies. The way they get fulfilled in the book, and in the show, the way they get fulfilled in the story just is so odd.
Yeah, she uses a lot of old language, and even in the prophecies book, they're all mixed up and jumbled. So there's no coherent timeline in the book for you to figure out, oh yeah, this is today, so this is the prophecy for today. No. You could be at the last page reading a prophecy from 2,000 years ago.
Right. So, yeah. So I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah.
We set out to do this video as a love letter to Good Omens. Mm-hmm. It's just a fantastic book, a fantastic show, and I can't wait to see what they do with season 2 of the show.
I need it to come out right now or I want my money back.
It's my money. So, let us know in the comments below if you have read Good Omens or if you watched the show or maybe you've done both. Love to interact with you and dialogue with you. Let me know if you plan to watch season 2, if you've seen the first season, and maybe let us know what some of your theories are for season 2, or maybe there's some news that we haven't heard yet about season 2 that you know about. So
I haven't really been keeping up with it. So if
Yeah.
you've got any little hints onto season 2, please let me know.
yeah, absolutely. Let us know what you thought of this video as well. I know it's gone kind of long and rambly.
It's a bit rambly, but I personally think that adds a little bit of charm to videos.
It does.
I like watching rambly videos.
I do too. Yeah, it does add a lot of charm. So, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to my lovely daughter here for joining us.
Of course.
And make sure that you guys read more books. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
So all in all, yeah, it's a fantastic book. Man.
Do I need to burp you like a baby?
Right.
Her strong sense of femininity. Femininity.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that happens is there is another book called The Further Nice and Accurate Prophecies of Agnes Nutter.
Agnes. She has no eggs. Where are her eggs? They all left her.
So there is another book at the end of the first book called The Further Nice and Accurate Prophecies of Agnes Nutter.
I keep thinking about Agnes Nutter.
Yeah, me too. Oh my goodness.
Okay, listen.
Oh, all right. Now, so there is another book of prophecies called The Further Nice. So there is another book called The Further Nice and Accurate Prophecies of Agnes Nutter. It's another book of prophecies.
You said Agnes again?
I did.